Hello everybody, I am Gamma, as always here with Sugar Cube Radio. Today I'll be doing a review of My Little Pony Season 3 Episode 6, Sleepless in Ponyville, and giving it my rating out of 5 stars. I'll start out with an episode summary. I think I could sum this one up pretty quick. Not a ton happened. I still enjoyed it, but here's pretty much how it goes. As shown before, Scootaloo is pretty much Rainbow Dash's biggest fan ever, and in this episode she wants to get closer to her so they can become like sisters. And alright, exactly what we always wanted. Yeah. So Apple Bloom is pretty much like, hey, I'm going camping with Applejack and Rainbow Dash is going to be there. You want to come along so you can hang out with her? And then Sweetie Belle's like, oh, I want to go too, so Sweetie Belle goes too. Scootaloo tries to act a bit slicker than she really is just to impress Rainbow Dash because she figures that the only way for Rainbow Dash to like her is if she sees how cool Scootaloo is. This proves to be difficult considering Scootaloo can't even stand on her own legs, and it gets even tougher when Rainbow Dash tells a super spooky scary campfire story that leaves Scootaloo a bit of a mess. So Scootaloo's having some pretty terrifying nightmares and she's not getting any sleep until Luna, as Princess of the Night, comes into her dreams and tells her that she needs to face her fears instead of just dreaming about them, or more particularly having nightmares about them.
You are asleep, but when you wake, the thing that frightens you most will still exist.
Oh, and really quickly, why does Luna have a completely different speech pattern every time we see her? She should just stick to something.
I'm afraid Rainbow Dash will find out I'm not as tough as she thinks I am.
Every pony has fears, Scootaloo. Every pony must face them in their own way. But they must be faced, or the nightmares will continue.
Scootaloo takes Luna's advice the complete wrong way and goes out to physically find this headless horse, and she ends up just running herself off a cliff. Luckily for Scootaloo, Rainbow Dash saves her, and finally Scootaloo gets around to telling Rainbow Dash how awesome she thinks she is. And pretty much Rainbow Dash takes Scootaloo under her wing and they become BSBFFFs. And yeah, I went there. So the award for the most adorable ending to any episode of all time ever has to go to this one. Though I wouldn't be so quick to say best episode ever, but I did really enjoy it, so here are my thoughts and opinions on it. First off, I just wanted to point out how impressed I am with the way the creators of the show have developed to know their audience. Obviously, they're still making a show for little girls. They're not going to change that and suddenly change the channel the show is on and change what kind of show it is, because it's My Little Pony. It's for little girls, essentially. That's what it's made for. But they're doing so many things that the bronies have been looking for. I think it's really impressive the way that they managed to keep it the same show, but cater even more to the large population of the audience. Apart from that, the things I really liked about the episode are pretty much the same things that I've liked about the other episodes. All the little animation gimmicks and eye candy, the new things that we haven't seen much of before that are just super fun to watch. Though because most of the things that I really liked about the episode are things that I've already covered time and time again in my previous reviews, I'm actually going to talk about a few flaws in this episode, and don't get me wrong, I really loved the episode as always, but I did feel like this one was a bit less perfect than the others, and because this is a review, obviously I'm going to go over my opinions on it. The biggest problem I had is that the middle of the episode essentially repeats itself, which makes the episode a lot less memorable than it deserves to be. As in, they set up camp, Rainbow tells its scary story, and Scootaloo has a nightmare. It happens twice, and it's not very different from the first time to the second. One thing that I thought could have been clarified a bit better, and I know one of you is going to clarify it for me because you do that, no complaints. But why are Applejack, Apple Bloom, and Rainbow Dash going to go camping without anyone else in the first place? It's kind of a random group of 3 people. I was just kind of curious as to why. Before I get to my last point, I wanted to point out one more thing that I loved about this episode, and that was the humor. Very few times when I'm sitting alone in my room watching this show do I laugh out loud. This episode had a few jokes that actually made me laugh out loud.
The times you asked that, the answer was no. This time, it's actually yes.
One thing that I'm sure a lot of you have already noticed is that this season has only had one letter to Celestia so far. And it goes both ways. I mean, the letters have become tradition, and it's something that a lot of people look forward to at the end of every episode, because they are really good messages. No matter how old, how young you are, whatever your gender is, they're good lessons in friendship about lots of holes in friendship, lots of things that you can do to make sure you have really good bonds with your friends. But that's also the reason why it's good they're not having so many of them, because now the show is able to do a lot more. Not every lesson has to be a lesson about how to keep your friends. Now they can do a lot more things, but I do still miss the letters after every episode. And as a closing note before I give my rating about the episode, those campfire stories were not very scary. Scootaloo was just being a chicken. And yes, I had to say that, I'm sorry. Anyways, my rating. I give this episode 3 out of 5 stars. I'm not doing half stars just to make things easier, but honestly, I said why I loved the episode, I said why I didn't like it, but to be really brief about it, this episode wasn't quite as good as One Bad Apple, which I gave 4 stars, so 3 stars. Anyways, once again, I am Gamma, here with Sugar Cube Radio. Thanks a ton for watching. Comment, rate, subscribe, all that jazz. It really helps. See you in the next video.